intelligent sounds um, since 2019. So, once again, with my shows, I talk about events, current events, things that's going on right now in society. I talk about things that may affect us as a whole. I talk about things that are currently on the World Wide Web and that are trending right now in news and just in, you know, United States or across the world, period. So one of the things I was getting into was the Lego Smart Brick. So this is really deep right here. The smart brick reacts to every move you make. So this is going to be for children. Um, it's going to interact with your child. It's going to interact with you if you're Lego enthusiastic that likes to collect those Legos. Because I know there's some adults that like these things and they build these um, very large scale type of castles and things that are very complex to build. Sometimes it's just for fun, and sometimes it's for like the Guinness World Records or things of that nature. So, the Lego Smart Brick, which is really deep if you look at it, it's going to interact. It has interacting technology, so it can talk, conversate. I mean, this is really deep, and it it pretty much reacts to your every move. So whatever you're doing, it's going to know what you're doing. If your child decides to make an airplane, it's going to mimic the airplane sounds. If they decide to make a tank, it's going to mimic those sounds. If they decide to make a horse, it's going to mimic those sounds. So this technology is really complex. And what else can it do? Because we don't really get the full description. It just gives you some information. So three Lego Star Wars theme smart playset have been revealed so far. Darth Vader's the fighter cost $59, 50 $60 altogether, 59.99, and is intended to be purchased alongside Luke Red 5X Wing, which is 79.99, $80. And these are things that children will be interacting with. So the smart brick in the shape of a normal 2 by 4 Lego brick are being launched in three Star Wars theme sets and are powered by a custom made chip smaller than a single Lego stud. So that's wow. So if this technology is able to do this, you could just imagine the technology that they've been using that's beyond this. Because they're bringing this to your child. So, this is child's play to the creators because they more than likely have things that are way advanced beyond this. And this just got me to thinking about a lot of stuff like, wow, we have so much technology coming out since the last, I would say, 10 years. Just so much, these phones, the phones can interact. They already built in with Meta. They built in with Siri. They built in with different formats. Some people are saying that your phones take pictures of you every 4 to 5 seconds. And some guy put a video on the web. It's on the World Wide Web. I guess he was showing that the phone was flickering, and he said the phone itself was taking pictures of him. And I guess he got somebody that's like a hacker, and they went into his phone drive and you know got in, and they was able to see that the phone was taking pictures of him everywhere he went. So I said, wow, what if you're in your, because I know some people have these new devices, and they also have these devices that go into their showers. So if you're in a shower and you put it inside of one of them little cases, and your phone is playing music, and you're in the shower, showering naked, and you're listening to music, that means your phone is also taking pictures of you. So I thought to myself, wow, who's this going to? Who's going to be watching while you're, in the shower naked, listening to music, and you're using a device that allows you not to get your phone wet because you want to put on music, and you're using also your speakers that you get, you know what I mean? I got one of my family members, one of those is like a smart, the smart speakers, the ones that work with Siri and all these different names, Meta, and blah blah blah, and so on and so. And who's watching? Like, who's taking all this data? Why would somebody need to see you naked in the shower and watch you listening to music? What is the premise of all that? You see what I mean? Like, you got to start to really question what are these people truly actually doing and what are their actions and why are they doing all this? Who's really benefiting from this? Um, and another thing I wanted to add too is like, okay, since these phones take pictures of you every 5 seconds, and we know that people that deal in narcotics, we know people that deal in distribution of narcotics, and we know people that deal in human trafficking and other things of that nature use phones. Why are they not using these phones to catch these people? Why are these phones not being utilized in drug labs to take pictures every 5 seconds? Why are they not being used to record what's going on every 5 seconds for career child predators or criminals? Why are they only being used to target normalized just citizens? Like, that's a real big question. That's what I was saying to you. We have this smart brick. It's going to be interacting with your child on a daily basis. So that means that when you're not around, this thing is going to be around. Now, you don't know what or who is really going to be able to access this brick, how they're going to be able to access it, and, the data that's going to be used when it's analyzing the interaction with your child or with whomever is using these smart bricks. Because this is the same thing with the phone. The data is being used and being analyzed somewhere, and we don't know where. And like we said, that some people are stating that they're processing it to get a algorithm of what you're doing, how you think, how you shop. So when you're going shopping at a store, it already has your location because every phone has a location. Some of these phones will take your whole measurements of body heat, body function, your heart rate. It's just so much on these phones that are added. Like, you think to yourself, why would a phone need to know my heart rate? Why would a phone need to know my body temperature? Why would a phone need to know my weight? Why would a phone need to know where I'm shopping at? Because I've been on my phone one time and this thing popped up. It was like, oh, Google and places you visited. And I was like, places I visited. Like, what the hell is this thing taking information on me? It's like, oh, you visited this place 20 times. And it's showing me at a food store, like it shows the actual time I went there, and it shows, oh, you visited here for this amount of minutes or this amount of time, and blah 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 blah. Rate how did you like your experience? And I was like, why? Why is this thing so nosy? And I thought to myself, if they have the technology to pinpoint to where you're at, exact location, exact timing, exact day, um, why are they not using this for much more important cases such as criminal acts? And why does it take them so long to catch people that are doing criminal acts? You see what I mean? Like, for instance, like I was saying on my last podcast show, we had a lot of people that are in the government now committing so much different types of frauds and cases, and we had the COVID cases, the COVID teams, PPP loans. So I thought to myself, with all these loans being used, I'm pretty sure these people use their phones. I'm pretty sure conversations was talked about during the time they were scamming on how to scam. So they would have a whole dialogue chat of what these people were stating and what they were saying. Why was none of this never ever introduced into court cases? You see, like, so what I'm saying to you, when it comes to these interacting devices or smart bots or anything of that nature that has some type of AI quantum technology into it that can digitize or interact with all the things in your home, what are they really analyzing? When they analyze it, who does it really truly benefit? When it benefits something, what is the true purpose of it and why is it needed? And who's collecting all this information? Because they're not collecting it on criminals. Because if they were collecting it on criminals, they would have a whole psychological evaluation of a person based upon their day to day interaction. And if I can see a person on their phone, if I was law enforcement that was on a child porn site, that person should be caught really soon, right? So my theory is, why are they taking so long to catch certain people? Why are certain people still dealing drugs? Why is the dark web still around? Why are all these things still in existence when we have all this technology that can see all the way to a moon landing area or to Mars and see some type of alien spider? Like this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, when does the fiasco game stop? And when are we going to start really wising up and waking up and starting to see, like, some of this is kind of strange. Some of this technology, what is it really truly used for? Why are we always being pulled in to get these things? And like I said, I don't know if you guys remember, but in that's my neighbor. Sorry about that. He's probably starting up his. I think he has one of those Hellcats or something like that. Likes to rev it up very loud. And I can pick it up because I have my window open. I apologize if you can hear it in the background, but I guess he wants to show his vehicle's horsepower. Anyway, I don't know if he has a V6 or whatever. Then most men are in America. We all want to show off our stuff, but more power to him. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Um, we are being pulled in, and I was about to say yes. Do you guys remember the red phone? So the red phone was a phone that they promoted, right? They stated that this phone was for to feed people in Africa. And if you bought this phone, you'll be feeding multiple families in Africa, countries in Africa. And if you guys don't remember, celebrities also promoted this phone. And this phone was tied to a lot of like strange stuff. And if you can go back and if you are very aware, you can do your history research. A lot of women were being targeted with this red phone, kidnapped, raped. And there was a lot of theories about, these phones are probably given because they want to target certain people, get a beat on them. And, women are always the target of a lot of different weird activities that are going on in America. So, kidnappings, uh, things of this nature. But yeah, and then we had the shots, you know, when the COVID, you know, and we had all the celebrities and entertainers telling you to get these things so bad. They even made rap songs about it. So my thing is, what are they gonna do with these bricks if they don't start really selling? Are they gonna start making rappers or entertainers come along with their children and start making videos or interactions with it and making it fun? Or will it be something where you see entertainers and their child and they're like, oh yeah, I used Lego brick for my kid and it's so fun and it's amazing and it it gives a good perspective of education and he does math with it and like, are they going to start doing the same type of advertising? Because every time they introduce something, you notice that they always need certain people to help them promote it into a status to where everybody is like, "Oh, I gotta get it. I gotta go get one too. I gotta get one." And, like I said, with the shots, they were enticing people with marijuana, celebrities. You can get a free burger, French fries for a week. I was like, "Geez, Louise, $1,000 in some places." I was like, "What is it about these things?" Like they truly try to get people on board any way and every way they can. And I'm just thinking to myself, we have had so much different aspects of situations going on with like with the bird situation. Then we had the Megatron H1 L1 or whatever the hell it is. Megatronics shot, and we had the. It's like, what is what is the end game to all these type of different little scenarios going on here? Um, it really shows you that even though we're in the 21st century and this is the time of freedom of speech and everybody's political and we're in a woke society, people are still woke with their eyes shut. I know if you don't remember the movie, that movie before where the gentleman was invited to the elites thing, and he was pretty much in the elite area, but he was also being used, and he thought that he was, getting in there, and but at the same time, he was still asleep to what they were truly doing in a diabolical aspect of what he was truly involving himself with. So, that's what they're saying. Like you're woke with your eyes shut. Like you're walking around, but you're not really truly woke to what's happening truly around you. You're not getting a real focus. Like you're not focusing in on what's transpiring around you. You're just kind of like in a tunnel vision syndrome. So yeah, this really got me. And I said, wow. And these things are sold at $18,000 sometimes. So some of them are $1,000. So I'm saying to myself, wow, we already have a so-called inflation and the government and all this type of stuff. And that's why I said that's another thing too. Also, psychological placement and psychological warfare. So you're telling me a company is selling these things for $18,000 for large scale boxes that can put together large like castles that are like probably they said like 5 to 6 feet. And then you're telling me they're also selling the ones that are like for vehicles for $1,000, right? And you're telling me the economy is crashing and this is happening. And so why would they be selling these things for this amount of money? Who's truly going to be able to afford $1,000 Lego set or an $18,000 one at that? Just think about this. And then we keep hearing that the economy is crashing, but every year we keep seeing sports events. Every year we see people piled up at sports events. Every year we see new food trends come out. Every year we keep seeing fast food restaurants built. How is all this crashing when all this is going on around us? Every year they tell us that they don't have money for certain things, for certain, um, ethnic groups or groups that are certain nationalities like myself, um, and they can't pay back certain amounts of money that they put down in the Constitution or, the acres and a mule. Let's just put that in layman terms. They can't pay that back, but every year they can send $1 billion here and there. They can send it across seas. They can send it to this fund. This group gets uh, $48 million. This, you know, we keep finding different things going on, and that's another thing. A psychological manipulation is truly another aspect. Because, like I said, not only are these chips interacting with you psychologically, are they evaluating you to see how they can manipulate you? And another thing is, another gentleman said this. He said he did a little study with his friend. So they both had these smartphones, right? He bought them. He just wanted to see. He just wanted to do a test. He said the ads that his friends were getting were only ads that they were interested in. He never would get those ads. The ads he were getting was stuff that he was only interested in. And then some of the news that he was getting was not even real news. Then he would look at his friend's phone. They wouldn't even get the same news. So what's really going on here? Are we being manipulated in some form or fashion to try to get us to have different perspectives? Are these things analyzing our whole mindset and trying to find out a way to manipulate us based upon our algorithms and where we go and how we interact with people, what's being said over our phones? Is this something that we're going to have to really truly be, I guess, up at arms with? Because, you know, we don't really know who's really truly running the show. For all we know, it could be a gigantic robotic machine like the mother. The mother, what do you call that thing from the X-Men? I think it was the Sentinel, the mother Sentinel or the motherboard Sentinel. And we kind of see that some of these things from movies and cartoons actually dictate reality. Because, we don't really know who's running the real big show. And like you said, that game that some people were showing on the internet recently, I think it's, what is it called? Where the guy goes snake. I forgot the name of the game, but it shows that they were already talking about AI interfacing the technology, and then when the actual military, the agent that worked for the government, I'm not going to say what agency he worked for, but he worked for the government. He found out that the person he was talking to wasn't even a real human. It was a interaction with a actual computer, a smart computer, a quantum technology interfacing computer that was studying his and had him going out busting missions. So just think about this. You know, you could be on the phone talking with somebody and not even know if you're talking to an actual human being. And based upon your vocal tone and your heartbeat and your rate that is picking up off of your phone and watching you taking pictures of you, it can determine how to approach you and how to manipulate you or how to frustrate you or how to conversate with you. You see what I mean? Like this is very sneaky. Because then we go into when it comes to abduction, and then we look at the Matrix itself. You know, most of those people were abducted by what we would call smart interfacing technology. And at the end of the movie, you see these people were placed inside some capsules with some damn liquid, and they were being harvested for their energy. And all this is going on, and while other people, and while they're thinking they were living in a real reality, they got them in the Matrix. So you know what I mean? Like we have a lot of people that are missing right now, and who really knows to say what's going on in society is happening in a large scale. Nobody really truly knows. You know what I mean? So that's why I say to you in a Roseroom discussion, I just wanted to tell you there's a lot of stuff going on, and don't be fooled by a lot of this technology and information that they're giving you, because even the current person that is the head of state or head of our country that is serving now as the head brass of the government, you already know what I'm talking about. I just got to say the trumpet, and I'm going to say that he even tells you that this media is fake. So if it's fake, and you know a lot of this stuff is not real, what have they been feeding us all this time? And they keep telling us that we're in a collapse, a collapse, a collapse. They keep saying this, but remember I told you on the last Rose Room discussion that when that shutdown happened, um, we went driving around. When we went driving around, I noticed some cities had regulations to where there was law enforcement around, there were people, and there were lines, and there were 6 foot spaces. And then when we went to some cities, they didn't have none of that. They just had, um, put your mask on. That's it. And people were free to roam about. So what I'm trying to say to you is that when you're pretty much being manipulated and in a large scale, you don't know who's doing the manipulation. You don't know how many people are involved with it. You don't know how many people are scheming to keep it going. And one of my theories is, and this is just a theory, this is based on entertainment purposes. This podcast is based on entertainment purposes. This Roast Room discussion is based on entertainment purposes. The views discussed on here are from a theoretical, experimental, and a knowledgeable standpoint. So, viewer's discretion is advised. This is not a show for children. This is for 18 years and older. So, once again, my theory is this, and this is one of my theories. I believe that this society that we think that people are in these large scale homes, I believe that some of these people don't even live in these homes. I believe that some of these people are agents of some type of organization that are placed here to put us under a spell and to manipulate us in every form and fashion possible. And I believe that they all link up in these underground tunnel systems. Now, you can not believe me if you don't want to, or you can say, "Oh, that's a strange theory." So you can say that's a strange theory. Um, but I'm telling you this: I don't believe it's a strange theory. And right now, as I'm talking to you, I have my headphones on and I have my microphone piece hooked up to it, and it just turned off when I'm saying that out of nowhere. My headphones never do that, so I know I must be touching some type of nerve with somebody. Somebody's nerve must have been touched because all of a sudden that just happened out of nowhere. Um, anyway, I believe that most of these people don't live in these houses, these luxurious houses. I believe in some of these upscale neighborhoods. Some of these people they don't really even live in those places. They work for some type of agency. They live in these mountains or areas like these hill facilities that you see that's on these internet um clips where you see people driving into the mountains and they have facilities that are in there and they go down multiple different layers of elevators and they have things set up. Now I know you've seen this recently, as of last year, where the gentleman was doing a delivery and he showed that he went inside of a mountain. He drove into a mountain facility that was pretty much blocked off from the normal society. And he said they had all types of houses, facilities, people were living inside of there, like pretty much living inside of the earth, inside of the mountains itself, right? So I believe that, and he said there's tons of underground tunnels, right? So my theory is some of these people are not really even truly us. You know what I mean? They're not like us. They're NPCs. They're humanoids. Like I was telling you about the Troy movie that came out recently with the digital 3D printer, and it showed you that they were able to print up people. Um, these people are NPC people. And another theory I was saying to you that they may have been the ones that want to destroy this natural society that we live in. As you can see, the trees now are being manipulated. We have more boy trees, more pollen, um, causing much more inflammation in people. Much more people are getting sinus um, bacteria infections. More children are having asthma um, because of the trees themselves. We don't have a lot of trees that produce natural fruit. That's why they're trying to create all this um, new type of hybrid or unknown GMO or organic stuff that we don't even know what the hell it's made from. And then when you open it up, it looks creepy as hell on the inside. Um, and then some people are bringing it home, and the fruit is actually collapsing on itself. I seen the one with a watermelon was like the guy bought the watermelon for like 3 days. He came back home, and the damn thing looked like it was like deflated, and all the juice came out of it. Then when he opened it up, it was like all of the inside was gone. So I said, like, what are you truly eating? You don't really know. And then on top of that, like I said to you, um, when you're interacting on these platforms and you don't know who you're talking to. Like I'm right now streaming on 4 different platforms, right? And sometimes people come in and chat, and sometimes people don't, right? When they do, I don't know if I'm actually chatting with an actual human sometimes. You don't know if you're chatting with an agent. You don't know if you're chatting with somebody from the government. You don't know if you're talking with somebody that's trying to get information and intel on you to see if you're some type of person that has some type of key knowledge or information that can expose the true, events that can take place in society. So we're dealing with a lot of things when we're talking about AI interfacing, quantum technology. We're talking about Lego smart bricks, and somehow they're able to interact with your children with a small, itty bitty small chip, smaller than they said, like smaller than a grain of rice, and it's crazy. And people don't know what's going on. And these things can, like I said, like your smartphones, they can take information on you and pretty much analyze you. And like I said to you, I can be here on this smartphone, and I can think that I'm on TikTok, right? I can think that I am on Facebook. I can think that I'm on uh, YouTube, and these people can make a whole different app that has nothing to do with that actual app itself, and mimic in my phone to where it goes directly to somebody or to an AI robot. And now I'm on here interfacing with a robot, and I'm thinking it's an actual human being, and it's not. And I'm sitting here arguing with something that's not even real. I'm sitting here giving technology and information to something that's just analyzing me to figure out who I am and what do I know. And this right here, people, this should be something that's a red flag to you because we don't know what the future really is holding for us at this point in time. If all these misconceptions are going on, all these manipulations, all these lies, all these fake news outlets, all this fake information is being given to us, what is the end game of it? Like, why is all this so important? I've been told, oh, you can't go to the beach because the water's in. Then, like I said, during that time of the COVID, um, I was told, hey, you can't interact on the beach. When I went to the beach was packed, and we were only probably the only people that had this type of complexion that didn't have a connection for the section there. And people kind of like was looking at us like, how the hell did you know how to be here? Because we were there spiritually, we spiritually awoken. You know what I mean? I was there looking at it, and I was like, wow, this is really strange. I don't see people that look like me on here or in this area, but I see tons of people here, and we're supposed to be in some type of lockdown. I don't even think this is going on truly in certain places. So that's why I said question everything, man. Question, look into things. Do not believe what people tell you about certain people or certain things. Research by yourself. It doesn't take a lot to go out and see it for yourself or record it or get information or study or just interact with certain things because sometimes this society is very misleading and we live in a society where a lot of stuff is cloaked. Whenever you have hidden agendas or you have people that are in groups that are such as like Skull, and I can't say the rest because they may kick me off this platform. We'll just say Skull and body parts. Let's just say that. Um, why are all these things hidden from us? Why do they have hidden groups? Why are these groups? You have to be in some type of fraternity or some type of uh different aspect of knowledge or information to even join these groups. You got to they got to get your blood, they got to get your information, they got to see where you live, they got to get your identity, they got to know who your family is. You got to be elite. Why are all these things in this society going on? Like, what is the end game to them having all of these different hidden agendas? They got hidden facilities in mountains. They got hidden facilities within schools. They got hidden facilities within everything you look at. Like, what is their true purpose? Why is everything hidden? Why are they hiding everything? And why are they always trying to take technology and use it to spy or infiltrate people? It's like, what is their real true purpose of all this? And that's why I say on the Rosewood discussion, I like to discuss things of this nature because these are things in society that will affect us in the long run. And I think like sometimes they're turning people against people. And some people are doing it willingly because they just want to be a part of some of these groups and they want to be seen as elite. They want to just be seen as those who help to take down other groups based upon ignorance of their own minds, of not understanding and not wanting to interact. And like you can see, we have all this technology, but we still have an ocean that's full of what we would call plastic. You see what I mean? Why are they not using these smart chips to place on plastic bottles to figure out if people are actually recycling them? Why are they not using these smart chips to figure out if these bottles are being thrown into river systems or oceans or things of that nature? Why are they not using these smart chips to be placed on canisters that are used by certain companies that are dumping toxic fumes into rivers and ponds and lakes? Why are they not using these things for a true purpose? And why are they always used to figure out what we're doing? That's why sometimes I think that people are telling the truth when they talk about these reptilians or some of these people not being humans and they're being NPCs or soulless individuals that are working for organizations for a purpose just to destroy society itself, destroy the beauty of mankind, to destroy um, the normalness of people having relationships. We already see that when it comes to the sexual identities of people, they're trying to destroy that. They want people to be confused about everything. They don't want even people to procreate no more, it seems like. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this that's happening. They have announced that they're having these robots, right? And these robots are interaction robots for males. And I'm like, and I already said this in my last podcast recently. I said, what's going to be the end game with that? Are they going to make robots that you can inseminate with your DNA, and they can have incubators within their stomachs and grow them. And I told us about this on my one of my other shows, designer babies, designer babies that are grown in a actual lab, that are grown by a AI quantum interfacing robot that has all of the genetic makeup of a normal embryo setup for a child to, you feel me, grow, but they're able to manipulate the child itself. They're able to make the eyes green. They're able to inject things into the child. So what will they do with that? Are we going to see children with the speed of a cheetah and eyes of a damn gecko and strength of a damn gorilla? Like what are they trying to create? X-Men? You see what I mean? Like what is the true purpose of all of this stuff that they're doing? And I told you about the internet itself. The internet itself is ran through the ocean, fiber optic cables in the ocean, fiber optic cables in the ocean, right? And we have over a million satellites in the sky. What is the purpose of those? So you see what I mean? Like there's so much stuff that needs to be answered. We can never get an answer to, but yet and still they keep telling you that the world's going to end, society's going to end, society's collapsing, but they're selling smart brick Legos for $18,000, $4,000. But the society's gonna collapse. The world's gonna end. What the hell can you do with some damn Legos if the world is ending? What are you gonna do? Make you a real actual boat and get in the water and go away with a Lego boat? Like, come on, man. With $18,000, you can get a car, you can get a damn house almost down payment, or you can get you a damn uh a shed. You can get you some food. You can get you even some loans going on. You can do all kind of stuff with that. You can get some liability, equity, assets. You can get all that going with just $18,000. But instead, you're going to pay for a Lego brick set. Is this making any sense to you? You know what I mean? They even charge you for these phones that cost damn near $2,000. What is the point of this phone? You can get a damn car for that much. I got my damn Oldsmobile Cutlass. It cost me 1,500. It was a used car. I just had to pay and get some of the stuff done to it, fixed on a vehicle. And I was gonna get some rims on it. It was a 1996 Oldsmobile Cutlass. Cost me 1,500. It was in good condition. Just had mileage in it. I was gonna get the engine replaced, but I can just tell you that you can get these things done. So what is the point of having a $18,000 Lego set? What can this do for you in the long run? Does this thing teach your kids information, new languages? Does it interact with them when it comes to spelling and math? Is it going to get them some type of tutoring when it comes to them getting into these, I guess, premier schools? What is the point of this? It's like these phones. What is the point of this technology? It's like we're living in an age that where people are just they're being manipulated on a bigger scale, and they keep telling you that they're smart, but the same smart technology is manipulating them. That's actually dumb. Because it's limitless and it can't really answer all the questions. Like I was on that application, I'm not going to say the name, but you already know what it is. Where you ask the actual AI interfacing machine on your phone information, and it can't even answer certain questions because it's that dumb. It can't even go past. It has a limitation. And you tell me this thing's supposed to be able to get all information and analyze it within a second. It can give you math problems. It can give you reading problems. It can give you all that. But when it comes to anything else, it can't give you nothing else. It can't even interact with you with that. It has a limitation. So when anything's limited, that means is governed by something, or some entity, or some force, or some technology, or some person, or somebody, or some group. So we're pretty much governed when it comes to a lot of this stuff that we're looking at. We don't have the aspect of um, expertise to get all true details of everything. We're pretty much limited. And in a society, they give us information based on limited details that they can only give us. They don't give us all the detail insight. As you can see now, every station on the channel is telling you about human trafficking and drugs and drugs and drugs. It's like they're following the same script. You see what I mean? And they're looking to help out on that. But like I said to you, programming is something very big. And programming is done and started at the age of a youth, a child. And if they're having interfacing technology that interacts with your child from a young age, when you're not around, what is this thing going to be saying or teaching your child? What is it going to be interacting with them with? And as they develop and grow, they're going to be corresponding with this and they're going to be pretty much having to use this as a crutch through life. And this may become the norm of society, which we're already seeing with everything being used as a smart mechanism. Nothing is not smart now. Everything, even your damn light bulb, needs to be smart. For what purpose? What reason? All that motherfucker need to do is turn on and turn off. What is the reason and purpose for it being smart? What is it going to do? Rap a song to you? It can't do anything. It's a damn light bulb. So why do they need this thing to be smart? What is the true purpose of these technologies being created? And why do they all need to have some type of interfacing technology where they gather information on you, your child, your loved ones, your home, your day to day movements, your mind frame, your body weight, your heart rate, just everything that you have going on, your account, your information, what you buy, how you interact with people, taking pictures of you, invading your whole privacy of existence. That's what's truly happening. That's what's going on. And we cannot figure out why, for the love of life, this is happening at such a fast rate. And why is it so important for everybody to have these devices? Why are they pushing this upon us? This is in everything we have now. I told you, I found a air tag in my vehicle. Um, I believe that it was a gentleman that came and fixed my vehicle. He came and fixed the lock on my door. I believe he placed it in there because he probably was some type of thief or something. I don't know what he was. Um, After that, his company disappeared. So it was very strange. You know, I couldn't find the gentleman nowhere else. But just let me see how deep people are into criminal activities and how these things can be used. And we're looking at a lot of these kids be on, like I said on my last podcast, Roblox. That site where children are on there and people can build these mod little, you know, formatted little entities and they can run around and interact with you and dance and we know kids love fun. We know kids love to laugh, giggle, but you don't know who they're really actually talking to. This can be a grown ass 28-year-old man with no underpants on, butt naked in his house, playing Roblox with a bunch of kids and telling them to dance and show themselves. And you see what I mean? Like, it's so much criminal activity. Like I said to you, when you're not at home and your child has this smart brick or these smart interfacing type of technologies being used in your home, um, who's really the receptacle behind it? Who's going to be analyzing him? And how many people can interact with him? We don't really know. Like I said to you, I believe, once again, that there's people here on this planet that are actual real humans, humanoids, and human beings. Okay. So that's three different types of individuals. And then we have other individuals. And I believe, like I said to you, some of these places that you see, these upscale neighborhoods, some of these people don't even live there. I think they believe in some type of unknown lifestyle to where they live in these type of mountains and areas. And it kind of gives you perspective because when you look at certain neighborhoods, don't you notice they're always near some type of mountains or areas where it's like upscale and it's beautiful, but the towns are always like mysterious and people go missing and you don't know nothing about it. And it's just like strange activity going on. People that had common sense now are mentally ill and walking around and need some type of aid. And this person was a scholar and had information, but when they started talking about certain things, they became sick all of a sudden, or they lost their mind, or and like I'm saying to you, like, and they're linked to like, and you always find out like there's tunnel systems, there's underground tunnels or underground areas, and it links to a mountain or some place, and then you find out it's like a facility where people live. And I believe, like, once again, that most of these people live in those facilities. Some of these houses in these upscale areas are fronts. They use them just to lure people in, and you could be replaced with some type of NPC. You feel me? And after the NPC replaces you, you would just follow the script that they give you, and you don't have the same mind frame. And your conversation will change. Your enthusiasm will change on how you want to attack certain political issues. You'll become a friend of the same political issue you just on the air talking about last week and say, "Oh, that's my best friend now." You're like, "Hold up, people look like wasn't that lady involved with human trafficking? How was she your best friend?" And then you don't even want to talk about it no more because you're not the same person. So, like I said to you, I don't know if these people are replacing people. I don't know if they are mentally evaluating people to dumb them down. I don't know if this is a part of a whole plan. I don't know if we're going to evolve into another type of species. I'm not sure if this is some type of bigger format of trying to get data and analyze every human being here, or those that are actually really true souls that are here, and the NPCs, like I just told you about the movie Tron, and the 3D generators, if they're going to make copies of you to run around here for 29 minutes and do things. And like I said to you, if you're seeing that this AI technology can take your face, your digital image, it can take your identity, who's to say that they can't make things like that movie Tron to run around here and commit crimes looking just like you? Remember I was hitting that on my album. My new album is kind of based off this theory, and it's going to be called Mr. Sinister, because, like I said to you, he's one of the characters that I always looked at in the MCU, and because Mr. Sinister was already doing this a long time ago. He was making synthetic um, mandroid interfacing, interactive humanoid um, bots or NPCs, in which he had them running around looking like him, and the real him was somewhere off, cloaked in the cuts. But he had them running around creating havoc and doing all kind of stuff, and was able to influence people and cause all kind of catastrophic damage. And he was collecting DNA information, details. Uh, he was analyzing them. You see what I mean? That's why I kind of named this album Mr. Sinister. You see what I mean? I'm still working on my beautiful West Side Waters. I'm trying to find a studio because it's kind of hard to find a studio at this point in time. I'm thinking about recording this in a in-home studio because people are very fickle and funny when you're not a part of the get along gang and you have a different perspective on society and you're speaking from a true spirit or soul. They don't want your message to be reached, and they don't want people to understand or hear this because it may enlighten some people and wake them up. So, yes, I'm going to go with this right here. And like I said to you, I believe through sound frequencies and different types of pulsative beats, you can communicate with people. And like I said to you, you can play music and pray. You can play music and communicate with the Most High, with the higher spirit. You can meditate through music and give faith and pray. And like I said, my music, that's why I said to you, I do instrumental because I feel like it's spiritual things in the instrumentals that can get you. And some of these things are done on certain types of frequencies. If your spirit wakes up, you can hear them. This is what I've been doing for a moment because I feel like right now the music industry is also programmed, as you can see, by what we call AI again. You see what I mean? They're analyzing and using it to make replica of you singing. You can take a famous artist right now, they can make a whole damn album with his voice, his actual voice, and the actual family themselves or the estate doesn't get paid a crumb, a penny. So once again, what is the end game in all of this? And once again, like I said to you, we have a smart brick, smart chips, smartphones, smart devices, vehicles with smart technology interfacing, AI interfacing, quantum technology with smart uh, mindsets that have quantum um, thought processing that is beyond what we can even understand. And we don't even know what the hell is in the quantum realm because that's where I guess CERN is trying to break into, calling it dark matter, you know. And we can see from their experiments and their situation that's going on, that's something that's I have no clue. Because if you didn't know, like last year when we had the three missiles that was sitting in the sky, we had the eclipse, and on top of that, we had another event going on, the comet coming past. So it's just you got to go into your research and really see why all these things are happening. And we're set to have another eclipse and another one. We just had about I've never seen so many eclipses before. You see what I mean? Why? How many eclipses do we need a year? What is the real significant purpose of that? And I've been living on this planet for this long. As a child, even as a teenager, I've never seen that many damn eclipses, like the moon. What is up with the moon? We never had no blue moon, orange moon, yellow moon. What the fuck is this? Frosted Lucky Charms moons? Like what is going on here? They have a moon for like every time. Oh, I've never heard of this. My man, I've been living in America all my life. Okay, my family is from here. We've been here for centuries. Uh, Nobody in my family never heard no damn yellow, orange, purple, green, blue clover, bigger, larger, smaller, blood moon, honey colored. What is this about? How do you have so many damn moons that just appear out of nowhere? This is crazy, bro. This is crazy activity work. You see what I mean? So I'm just telling you, man, keep your eyes peeled in this society, man, because there's a lot of stuff going on that's very odd. And like I said to you, I believe these people they work in these mountain facilities, and they're not humans. They're NPCs, or they're some other type of life form, and their true purpose is to keep us confused, um, in a daze, lost in a storm, and pretty much under their spell. And their spell is nothing more but chaos and manipulation. You see what I mean? And that's why we constantly are seeing that the food is not real. We're seeing now that some of these people are liars, manipulators. We're seeing that there's tons of money because, like I just said to you, if they're selling you Lego sets for $18,000 and $1,000, the economy is supposedly crashing. Why are they selling these things for this much amount of money? Why are all these events still going on if the economy's crashing? Why are these companies still making money but the economy's crashing? Let's just be serious. It's all a made up story. It's all a lie. The churches ain't crashing. Once again, here we go again. Very strange. Very strange. Okay, once again, when I said that again, my head device went off again. So, like I said to you, this is very strange. This never have happened before. Never, never. I had this device for a whole year. It never goes off while I'm talking or interfacing or interacting with anybody else. It goes off when you're not talking. So when you're not talking, it goes off. And if you're listening to my rules of discussion, you can hear I'm talking a lot right now. So every time I say keyword, it turns off. I had this actual happen on my rules of discussion on my streaming equipment. I said some very, how can I say this, delicate things that may have triggered someone. Somebody came into the discussion. Next thing you know, my device went off in the midst of me talking. Now, even the device would tell you, hey, you're not saying something. Please interact. Or it would say, it would show a prompt on the screen. I was talking my ass off. So, what I'm saying to you is that whenever you're striking a nerve with their system, they don't want you to say certain things. They will do what they have to do to shut you down. And I believe, from my perspective, that we need to start creating our own devices. This is my true thought process. And that's why I said use this AI quantum technology to be the Achilles heel of the actual giant. Take them down with their own stuff. You see what I mean? Um, make your own devices. You can digitally print out your own 3D, print out your own format of a phone and make your own phones and sell them. That won't have anything to do with their type of devices, and it can be run on a whole different interfacing technology. And that way, you won't have to be left in that situation with them being the controllers of something. And as I'm seeing right here, when I'm talking on this platform, I'm seeing that my microphone sometimes is being weak. I'm not sure why, but it's on right here. I can see when my voice is vibrating from the signal of that I'm giving through my you know law. Uh, that is if you know a current, the voltage. You already know what I'm talking about. Um, it's improbable that this thing is not picking me up. So that's really crazy that it's cutting off in the middle of my conversation. But when I say certain things about these people in the mountains, in these facilities, and these people are pretty much studying us, and they're not really humans, and they are not like us, and they are pretty much trying to cause chaos amongst us and making us feel like we are not really actually in control, and they're trying to deceive us and have multiple purposes of trying to deceive us through these devices and the technology and how they're analyzing us. It cuts off. Okay. So I don't know if I'm going to cut off again, but yeah, once again, this show is based on entertainment purposes. The views discussed on this show are from a theoretical, from a educational, knowledgeable, and experienced standpoint. So viewer discretion is advised. This show is not for anyone that is young. This is for 18 and over. That's why the prompt on my actual show shows you that you have to be 18 years of age to get on this platform, to even talk to me, or even communicate with me, or even to watch this platform. So this is not for kids. No kids should be on here. No children. Unless you're with your parent and you can hear me. And that's okay. That's if your parent feels good with that, that's okay. I'm not tripping. But yeah. Yeah. We are experiencing a full on awakening. Um we're just almost out of the year of the age of Aquarius. That's the year, sorry about that. I mean the age of Aquarius, we're coming out of it. We're coming to the year of the horse, I think now. We're coming into where I would be at, the workhorse. You know what I mean? Um this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get work in. I'm trying to do as much as I can because this is my normal mentality. I am a hard worker. I like to work, like to be motivated, like to do a lot of things. That's why I invested in my own company so I can get my own perspective of society and give details on information that I feel like some people are not really touching the points on. They don't really too much discuss about. They'll tell you about the aliens and all this other stuff, but I don't believe in aliens. I believe that these are nothing more but demonic forces, demonic entities. These are demons. These are the fallen. These are the Nephilim, whatever you want to call them. Um, and we're just interacting with them, but in their mind frame, they want you to believe in some type of unknown bullcrap because that's what they do. They hide in the unknown. When they do this interface in the technology, they do it to you where it's unknown who's controlling it. Like I said to you, when you have a smartphone inside of your actual shower and you have a case that protects it from water, it's an unknown entity watching you and snapping these pictures of you through your phone. Um, when these children are talking to people on these platforms, it's an unknown entity that's giving them access to allow a predator to get the coding or to get the hacking um, type of perspective to get to that child. So we're looking at all these different things that is unknown. That's why I believe, that's why they name these unidentified objects unknown because it's unknown. They don't want you to really know what it is. So that, they're just it's con games, bro. It's con games. It's manipulation on every format, and platform. And we are pretty much the subjects of a testing ground. And I believe we are really truly the real, live, actual flesh and blood people. And I believe some of these other individuals are not human. They're not. They're not from the Most High. They're not from the Messiah. They're not from the King of Heaven and Earth. They don't have the same perspective as us. They don't even think like us. And I think that some of us have been tricked and fooled that we are them and think that somehow we need to follow that type of perspective in order to get a foot up in life and that we need to be a part of that. That's why we're losing who we are as human beings. And that's why we're losing our actual intelligence, existence, our love, our bond, our feelings and our emotions, and just pretty much our existence as a person. We are letting all that go. And a lot of these other groups have been broken down so much, they have been told that they have to bargain in on this and they have to help to target us in order to get something in a society. And I believe that this is crazy because, like I said, every year we're being told that the economy is falling apart, but yet and still, we still keep seeing people being brought here and tons of money given to everybody. And like I said, this is the manipulation, bro. And that's why some people say this is simulated. This is a simulated system. Like I said to you, look at the movie Tron. It's so much going on, bro. It's just so much going on that is truly condescending at this moment, and we're waking up, and we're really getting a real true perspective that is so many people that are doing things that we can't even fathom that have been doing it for a long time. Um, and that's how I'm pretty much going on. I don't really go on, like I said, celebrity gossip. I don't care about celebrities. Celebrities to me are nothing more but pawns in the game of people. That's why they're making songs about you getting vaxxed, and and they'll do anything for $1. They don't really care. They don't really have a soul. Some of them have lost their souls, and they're just doing anything to get by and keep themselves afloat and keep that status. That's all they're looking at. That's why the likes, follows, and all this thing have been introduced in our system. You see what I mean? The likes and follows. Remember when this came into perspective? You know what I mean? When these type of um, digital programming um, aspects were brought onto these platforms and onto these type of applications. The likes, follows, and all that before, nobody really cared about the likes and follows. They would just look at content and just say, "Oh, that's funny," and they would just all like it. Now you need to have likes, follows. Uh, you need to get some type of money. You need to get a platform where people can hear you. You gotta, it's just like so much behind it. Like, why? Why is this so important now? Why is it so important to see people like and follow you? I don't know if you guys understand. It was a movie made a long time ago in China, and the movie was about a gentleman. And the movie depicted that in this society, people had to see you as a good person, and they would give you smiles and likes, right? Well, it wasn't likes, it was like smiles and happy faces. The more happy faces and smiles you get, the more people respected you. Now, the more frowns you got, people will remove you out of society. And then they made another movie, a version of this movie in America too, also. Um, and it pretty much depicted where we're going in society. What is this really truly based upon? Smiles and happy faces. If people are smiling and happy faces with you, that means that they like you now. that they and you don't even know what these people are doing behind closed doors. But as long as they give you a smile and a happy face, that means that you're good, a good person. So this is wild work, bro. Wild work. I mean, work beyond what we can even imagine. What is happening in our society, and they're pretty much using the same technology that was depicted in this movie. This movie came out like in, I think around 2000, 2001, or something around that time. But the movie had the same concept that's going on in this day and age that we're living at this very moment. It was society based upon smiles and happy faces. Smiles, frowns, giggles. You would find out if a female liked you, was attracted to you. It didn't go likes and shares. It just went smiles, frowns, and and just faces that was a joy, like and certain people that were prestige. They're already given a bunch of these things. Like the prestige people in the society, they had like billions of these faces, right? So no matter what they did, they could always get a replenishment because of their money, and they controlled the system, right? But the people that were in the lower class, they didn't have them. They had to build up. And it was this one guy who was rich, right? And it was a young guy that was in a impoverished community, but he was very talented. Like he was talented. But the rich guy had no talent. He just had money. So what he would do, he would pick on this guy, and he would make sure that he would not get any happy faces. He would make sure he would try to prevent him from getting any happy faces. So I said, wow, because I know I was on Twitter. I had over like 2,000 followers, but Twitter had prompted me to say, hey, I had to pay money. I was like, pay money? Wait, what the hell you got to pay money to keep your followers? I was like, no. So they took like 1,000 followers away from me, bro. So I was like, what kind of game is this? Like, what are we living in? That if you don't agree with certain people or follow certain agendas, or you can't live your freedoms and your constitutional rights are going to be violated, and you're going to be told that since you don't want to join in with a get along gang, that now you can't get this type of perspective or be seen on this level or this platform, or your talents can't be introduced to others, and you're going to be shunned or shut down. That's crazy work, bro. And that's what we're living in. Like I said to you, all this technology is distracting us. And at the end of the whole end game, we don't really know who's controlling it. We don't know if this is all being controlled by an actual large mastermind or master mode computer. And sometimes I kind of think that, you know what I mean? I truly think that, you know, I truly think that this could be the actual end. Um, and I'm going to see, I want to see. So Snake is from the video game Metal Gear Solid. There you go. Metal Gear Solid. So Metal Gear Solid had a little small, I guess, interactive video in the game where you would be talking to a colonel or a chief, and the character Snake itself, it had told him, "Are you having fun with this AI technology?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm having fun making these little, beautiful little women and stuff like that." He was like, "Oh, you think this is a joke, a game?" He said, "This is government technology." And then at the end, the voice turned from an actual human into a computer or a computerized mechanism or whatever you want to call it. So is this kind of like a precursor to what's going to happen in the future? Or does this already have happened and we're just seeing it? Because like I know some of you have seen, like when you watch these videos and they're like, look at this person's face, it glitch. And when the face glitches, it looks like you're seeing something, but it doesn't look like the actual same person, but like it glitched real quick. You're like, that's strange. And then you kind of see a lot of these things like with glitching faces and glitches, and you're like seeing that sometimes some people say they can remove the glitch filter, and then you're seeing somebody with these weird eyes, and you know, we don't really know what we're interacting with as normal, regular human beings or normal people that are humans. You know what I mean? We could be interacting with humanoids. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this in a real discussion because I just feel like this was something that was really like lingering in my mind, and and I thought about all this amounts of money that's coming up missing and blah blah blah. And we don't have money for this, but all these things are taking place and the manipulation. I said to you, like, this is all a lie. We're living in a big lie, a manipulation system that's just created to control us and dictate to us who we are, what we can and cannot achieve. And that's why I believe like they don't allow you to go off the grid here in the United States. You know what I mean? You can't really go off the grid because they bought all of the natural resources that are in these forest areas, in these rural sites. You can't live over there because it's owned by this group, it's owned by BLM, it's owned by the Forest Service, it's owned by the California Department of this, it's owned by the military, it's owned by all these different groups. You see what I mean? And somehow we can't live off the grid. Like we're forced to live in this simulation and we're forced to be a part of it no matter what. And it's like an agonizing thing to where you can't really express yourself, but you have to be here amongst people, and you don't even know if you're dealing with actual human beings anymore, and you don't even know if you're being analyzed. But I know that every day I keep seeing a McWeirdos being built, you know, and these things are all over the place. And once again, there's not enough human cattle to sustain us to have so many McWeirdo restaurants. So where's all this meat coming from? Once again, what are they analyzing with these smart chips, smart devices, your heart rate, your body temperature, your whereabouts? What is this? What is the true end game of all of this? Like people said, are we actually living in a simulation? We don't really truly know. We don't have a clue because, like I said, it's the unknown. You know what I mean? The unknown means that these people have certain groups and societies that are secret. They're unknown. You can't know who it is. This is a secret society. What the hell is a secret when we all live in the same country? Like this is the only country that you can live in where there's secrets within unknowns within a secret and an unknown secret that is unknown to the secret that is the secret of an unknown. You know what I mean? It's like a damn a maze. You know what I mean? Figuring this out here. It goes on forever, and everybody's trying to be the code cracker of the maze to get everybody to go through a single part to get through. But every time they do that, the interface machining makes a harder one, and it just keeps going on, and it gets bigger and longer, and it never stops. So you know what I mean? Like I said to you, this is the society we live in. This is what we're going through. This is how we're going to have to figure it out. And like I said to you, you have these digital 3D printers. You can make your own devices through these digital 3D printers. Like I said, you feel me? Beat the system with the system in that phrase of mine. Use the same system that's being used to target you. Target it with the same technology. You remember in the movies where the guy couldn't get to the matrix, so he entered the matrix and became a part of the matrix and became a virus to the matrix. And then the matrix itself fell apart because it couldn't really function within itself. Remember Agent Smith? He became a virus. So you got to understand. Sometimes you have to be the one that stands up. And when we read a lot of biblical texts, it's always somebody that stands up to the actual giant or the kingdom of evil or the persecutors or somebody. It's just what happened to taking a stand? Does that exist anymore? especially in our diaspora of group. It's like we're taking a stand, but at the same time, we're actually still involved with helping the system because we're buying the same stuff that we keep saying is under the supremacy of those who keep the system going. We support it when it comes to these shows, award shows, celebrities. We still keep supporting these people after they told you to go take that shot. And what did the shot lead to? We're still supporting these people on a daily basis. We're still going out buying these people stuff. We're still helping them. We're still giving them leeway. Remember, the Epstein list has still not been revealed yet. And they keep changing it. They keep removing people off of it. And the same people that were on it, somehow now, we act like they don't even exist. And all the stuff that they did, we don't even want to know about it, seem like it. So what's really going on here? What happened to really taking a true stand? You see what I mean? It's like that whole concept has just went out the window. It's not even real anymore. Everybody just woke. Diet woke. Uh, light diet woke. Uh, they just woke. It's just like, well, what did you woke from? I got that from a podcast show with Black Dot. But yeah, they had that on there, and I thought to myself, that's truly real. Like, what are these people halfway woke? Like one eye woke, one eye closed, and the other eye open. And they just decided to do it like that, and they just say on this side, because I don't see nothing on this side, I just see it on this side, and that's just it. And that's how we gonna move. You see what I mean? Because tomorrow, I can say this tomorrow, and then I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna see the same people in my own diaspora still helping out the same groups of people who just don't give a damn about us, and the same system that's gonna track us and do the same thing and analyze us and use all this technology against us, and they're still gonna promote it and help it out. They're gonna be the spokesperson of these type of technologies. They're gonna be wearing them as the latest fashion. They're gonna be giving them the leeway. They're gonna put them on the highest platform. They're going to use their platform for it. Like I said to you, a lot of these celebrities, if you look to see, when it comes to the Reparation Act, do you see any of these celebrities in our community pushing that? Why don't put that on their platform? They have over 1 million followers or more. So you can't tell your 1 million followers to sign a petition for that money for us to get that small amount so we can be free of this situation of this so-called matrix. Because they keep saying that this so-called leader of our country is a racist, right? But wouldn't the biggest black eye against racism, wouldn't that hurt racism if you was to give us our money? If they were racist so much against society and us? But you notice that nobody doesn't want to do that, right? But they want to tell you that this man is racist. I'm here to tell you that most of these people are truly him. They're a reflection of him. They're just doing it in a much more unknown, sneakier way. And they're using their own platforms to do so. And like I said to you, I guarantee you my life on it. I guarantee you that we will rule this planet one day, that all this is true. The same groups of people who are telling you that this man is racist are truly the racist people on this planet because they had all this time before he even came to put a black eye against racism, supposedly. And the biggest thing to stop the supremacy of hate and racism would to be giving us our income or finances that you put into writing years ago. But for some reason, you only want to do that. But you just want to tell me about this man. Like somehow I need to fixate on this man only. I need to have hatred against this man. I need to somehow dislike this man only, and that's it. And I think that's kind of crazy for us to have that aspect of thought process, and we're not looking at the bigger picture. That these people had all this money before, and they could have gave us all types of things. Like this young lady said, she said, "Hey, they didn't have to give us money. They could have gave us free schooling. They didn't want to do that. They could have gave us free living vouchers. They didn't want to do that. They could have gave us free medical. They didn't want to do that. So if you're so against racism and this person is the biggest race that you claim he is, why are you not trying to help us to win the biggest battle against racism and give racism the biggest black eye that it ever had by establishing us against that system. But yet and still, you're not going to do so, right? But you're going to claim that you're against racism. So, like I said to you, these are a lot of false narratives that are being fed to us by the society. The society itself is ran by some unknown technology. The technology itself tracks us, keeps information about us. Um, it gets our day to day whereabouts. It analyzes our minds. It analyzes our body types. It just analyzes our facial. It takes pictures of us. And it's now truly coming to face with our children in the biggest way. And like I said to you, when celebrities start being used to sell these type of items, such as a smart brick, then other kids are going to want these things. Then people that are in low poverty communities going to want their child to have a situation. Okay, all right, okay. I guess somebody came up to the panel and they wanted to be invited. Uh, yes, request. Okay, accept. Okay, you're accepted. Is this something that you wanted to talk about, ma'am? Hello, Mary. Is that your name? Hello, you're on my Rose Room discussion. Hello. I guess I'm gonna have to drop you if you're not saying anything. Okay, let me drop this guest. 'Cause this guest is they're high capping or something. They're not saying anything. This person is just like being blank. They're not even saying anything at all. Accept your request. Okay, accept your request. Okay, okay, your request is accepted. Okay, your request is accepted. Hello. Okay, well, sir, you don't sound like a Mary. You sound like a man. What's going on, sir? Yeah, you're gonna have to get dropped. You're just playing a game, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna unfollow you because I see now you're not even a person. You're playing a game. Please be removed from my platform. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say to you. You have a lot of people that are manipulators, bro. Lots of people that are manipulators. Like I just said, I just had a person join. Mary, it shows a female that is a Caucasian female. She is with a tattoo, and it looks like a woman, right? So then when I get to accepting this person, it's a African guy. It's a bunch of African guys talking. They're not even a woman. So, like I said to you, there's a lot of manipulation going on in this society, man. There's so much manipulation going on, so much stuff going on in this society that you have to be very careful about. And there's people constantly out here doing things to be a part of these groups, and they're pretty much misleading people. And in order to be established, some of these people will do anything. They're willing to become an NPC. They're willing to become a soulless one. They're willing to become a part of these groups that are ran by these elite unknown societies. And they're collecting information, data, details on you, and they're trying to find ways to stop you from living a positive, free, and spiritual free life. And this technology is being used to cause all kind of chaos, somewhat. And sometimes it can be used for good, like I said to you. Beat the system with the system. You have digital printers. These digital printers can allow you to print up your own mechanisms and create your own mechanisms where you can communicate on. And I'm thinking about this is the next step because dealing with this person a few moments ago, you can see that some of these people are not even who they really truly are. And sometimes you don't know who you're speaking to. You don't know if you're speaking to an agent. You know if you're speaking to somebody from the government. You don't even know if you're interfacing with an AI, quantum technology um, computer. that is taking data and information on you and analyzing you while it's talking to you. So yeah, um, I'm going hard with this because, like I said to you, this is what I do in a room discussion. I don't talk about stuff that is weak. I don't talk about stuff like celebrity gossip because, like I said to you, celebrities to me are not really worth my time because they're pretty much pawns, and pawns and stuff are not really something that I really I focus on unless they become knights, rooks, or they become kings and they have a position. And then when they have a position, then you have to be very wary on what they were doing, why they were doing it, and who they were doing it for, and how did they get that position. So then I don't look at rooks as anything of value to me because they just a rook. They're crash out, they're throwaways, they're people that can easily be used and then be thrown away. Because as you can see, um, the recent day and age, we've seen a lot of celebrities come and go. If they break the oath in those groups, you're thrown out. Like I told you before in a previous podcast, I've been approached by these groups multiple times, multiple platforms, because whenever you get like over 500 people and you get a bunch of people that are willing to listen to you and want to interact with you and want to get some of your information and want to, you know, engage with you, or they are fans of your information, they will come and introduce themselves and ask you if you want to join. And some of them are straight blatant upfront. I mean, I understand the pictures and everything. I had a gentleman trying to chat with me, telling me to meet him at this lodge, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it. One of my friends did it. I seen him later on. He looks all messed up now. He looks just like I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what they did. I don't know if they put him to the ringer. I don't know if they gave him the booty range, or when I say the booty range, I mean like the range, where they go and pow pow, and his ass cheeks. That's what I'm pretty much saying, the booty range. Okay, so I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what happened to him. He just looked worse off. He doesn't look like the same person anymore. Um, look like they put him through the ringer. Like he accepted their thing. They gave him whatever they gave him, and he didn't. And they just did what they did with him. He just looks horrible now. So yeah, um yeah, me myself, like I said to you, I'm gonna give you a story. I was invited to one of them parties. Me and my cousin, he's incarcerated right now. He got caught up in a lot of stuff because he wanted to live that wild life. I tried to warn him multiple times not to be involved, but he ended up, I guess, wanting to be involved, and he's in that situation. I always pray for him. I love him dearly, but I just think that people set him up for a setup and a sacrifice. But anyway, long story short, I was working in firefighting. Um, Remember I explained to you I was the only firefighter on that crew that was of my diaspora of nationality. I had been firefighting for almost 10 years. That was like probably like I think my 8th year of firefighting. I was going on 8 years. Um, During that time, there was a gentleman I was working with. His brother was also a police officer, and a few other people there had connections to other people. I had been invited to a party previously before that when I first started, and that was the second year of no, sorry about that. That was my 5th year of firefighting. I went to a party in a very prestige neighborhood. I was the only person in my diaspora of nationality there. Um, all the females were there were either of Hispanic nationality or Caucasian nationality. One thing I noticed about it, they looked very young. Um, I asked a question to one of the females. I said, "Hey, would you want to go get some beer?" And she said, "Oh, I'm only 14." I said, 14. And I started to ask around, like, how was the age? No, 15, 16. I'm like, oh, hold on, hold on, hold on. This is a place I'm not supposed to be because all these girls are underage. And I told my friend who was a fireman, I said, hey, man, why are these girls underage? He's like, oh, don't trip off of that. They just come here to have fun. And I was like, nah, bro. And I noticed that this house had like probably, I think it was like a mansion house. So they had like probably, I would say, like 10 bedrooms. So all these dudes were going upstairs with these girls in these bedrooms. I stayed downstairs with another gentleman who was passed out drunk. I just sat there at the table, like I'm not doing none of this. And my friend went up there with one of them younger girls, and He ended up losing his job later on down the road, and he ended up catching a STD. So go to figure. It just was something that was very strange about it. So long story short, he left. I was still there on the same crew for a bunch of years. I got to my 8th year. Um, Once again, new crew members. I was invited to another house party. This was in another prestigious neighborhood. When we get there, it's me and my cousin. We come to the door. There's a lot of girls there. Once again, I'm skeptical because I'm saying like, wow, why is it so many young? It's always young females. They had a trash bag full of marijuana, and once again, I want to say this again clearly: a trash bag full of marijuana, not a Ziploc bag, not a backpack, not a pillow, a trash bag full of marijuana. They had um uh coquiana, if you know what that is. I'm not going to say too much about it, but they had that on a platter. They had pills, and was a lot of alcohol going on, and most of the people in there were either law enforcement, uh city and county workers, people of that nature, other people in the neighborhood. I just feel like it was the wrong place for us to be. They wanted me to come in, and at this time, one of the gentlemen that I was working with my crew, he wanted to invest in my brother and my cousin, and he wanted to be a part of the music industry. So he wanted to invest some money into them. Um, I just feel like no. My cousin was so amped up, ready to go. He ready to go hyphy and get dumb and dance. And I'm like, nah, bro, we gotta go. He's like, why? Like, we leaving, bro. Like, no, this ain't the place for us to be. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking to myself, what can happen? What can transpire? You know what I mean? I'm here with a, a kid. He's young. He's not aware what's going on. We can get roofied. We can get anything can happen. You know, we can get pass out. They can get some females to take pictures with us with younger underage females. It could be so many things that can happen within this realm of possibilities. And I just feel like this isn't the place for us. We should not be here. And you're too young to understand because, kids only see fun and happiness. They just want to dance and have fun and everybody's there and the drinks is there and they can get you know the attention and I'm like, nah, this ain't the place, bro. Because um I'm seeing that some of these females, I'm not sure if I recognize some of them, but I'm just like, nah, this is like a run through of what the same thing that happened on the second year of me being in this job. And like I said, I was shunned 2 times from getting the academy, and everybody that made the academy attend those parties, you know what I mean? And they were doing all of those extra events. You see what I mean? They were engaging with those things. Um, a lot of people aren't into bisexuality, stuff of this nature. I just didn't feel what I did. I did go to one party, one, but it was not with any children. And what I did do, I made sure not to engage because as soon as we got there, um, once again, another upscale neighborhood. This is the third one I had went to. This one I made sure that it was not any children there. I made sure it was all adults. It was all adults. Um, and then when I got there, people started to put out the marijuana. As soon as that happened, one of the senior individuals on the crew came and he was trying to take pictures of people and was telling on people. So I said, like, nah, I can't do this. I left immediately. I told him, hey, man, I'm about to leave out of here because this ain't no party to enjoy. I can't be here when somebody's policing me and I'm off duty and I'm relaxing. And, people are here lighting up joints and they're drinking heavily and they're intoxicated. And this gentleman is here not really drinking at all. And he's taking pictures of people. And I don't know who he's sending them to. I don't know what his real true motive is, and he has a lot of skeletons because I also actually went to Tijuana with him one time. And the thing about this gentleman is that he was into transgender women. Um, he had went to the back and had a love affair with a transgender woman in Tijuana, and another gentleman had went there and had intercourse with a woman, and we were in a strip club in Tijuana, and I didn't do anything. I met some girl that was from Cuba, and she was very well, how can I say this, well proportioned. And she just came and sat on my lap. naked and was doing all these gyrating things, and I just was like, I'm not. And they was trying to tip me to go and do that. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Because I just thought to myself, if she's here doing this with me, how many people has she done this with? I mean, she looks very tempting and very attractive, but the point of it is that it's not worth it. Something about this is very, it's like demonic. It's not really anything that I want to be engaging myself with. Because, Lord forbid you slip up and all of a sudden you get this person, you feel me, your seed, and now they're, wandering across the world and you're dealing with this. Um, it's just like, it's just so much, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, that was my story I had to deal with. Um, that was a situation. And like I said to you, um, it was a lot of stuff that was going on down there. Like I said, when I went with them, I didn't feel comfortable because I know this gentleman was very a sneaky, conniving person. But then I also seen that when he actually let loose and alcohol was in his system, the real true him came out, and he was a lover of boy men, ass China, as you can put it in that perspective. Um, and that's what he was doing. And he went to the back room to go do it. And talking about you could put a beer on her head, and it's just too much, so much stuff that was just it was very sickening to me. And after that, I never went out with that man again because I just felt like something about him was very sick. And lo and behold, it was. It was a young woman on my crew. He had took her laundry without her giving him authorization to do so and washed her clothes, meaning her underpants and everything else, which I found to be sexual harassment. Um, I found it to be very creepy. She didn't give him permission to take her clothes out of her bag, which was very strange. And he was very much obsessed with her. He wanted to follow everywhere she went. He was engaging with stuff. He would prompt her with monies and things of this nature. And I said, "Wow, that's very sick." I told her, I said, "Hey, that's like sexual harassment. That's somebody that's constantly doing stuff like that. He's coming around you, putting his arm around you. He's asking you if you want sandwiches. He's stealing stuff for you. He's taking your laundry out of your bag and washing it without your consent. That's sexual harassment." But like she was a young lady that was Caucasian, and she kind of didn't really, you know, see it as an offense. I kind of to myself like I was like, whoa. In the future, I kind of feel for you because I don't, you don't know what means this man to go by. Because if he can see that he's able to do that and take your personal and wash them, what is he gonna do later on? Walk in your house one day with no drawers on and just come in there and it's just to me it has to be barriers with everything. And to me, it's like some people are too relaxed with allowing people to do certain things. And to me, I will speak up real quick. And another thing that happened when I was doing firefighting, I lived in an apartment complex on 961 South Sunshine Ave. This was in El Cajon, California. Um, this was before the phenomenon that's happening now of finding cameras in your home. We found a camera in our apartment and a microphone that was in the roof in a crack. So the roof was cracked partially, and they had put plaster up to cover it, but you can see that it was not really covered. And then one day, me being who I am curious, I poked the hole and found that it was a microphone up there. So I grabbed the mic, took a picture and a video of it. Then I decided to go to these vents, and then lo and behold, there's cameras in the vents. So I got into this large fight dispute with these people. They got into a physical altercation. Law enforcement was called. Once again, they brought out PG&E because this person not only had they had our phone, not PG&E, SDG&E. Sorry about that, SDG&E, because that's San Diego. Um, they had our phone lines crossed to where which the person in the one apartment was using our phone lines, and they were connected, and they were on the same bill. They had the same thing with the PG&E or this other stuff, and then the gentleman told me, "Hey, this building used to be a surveillance place." He said this building used to run big drugs out of this building. He said a lot of these people here are informants. They've been to prison, child predators. And lo and behold, one of my neighbors was arrested. He was not supposed to be in the area. He was a child predator. So I've been through it, man. I've been through a lot of the situation. Um, I found out that when my relative was staying there, I had a young female relative, my cousin and her brother, and my brother that came there and my young niece. And lo and behold, I found out they were recorded on these videos. And this neighbor, who was a child predator, along with a bunch of other neighbors that were kicked out because I had contacted the main owner. The main owner contacted law enforcement. Some of these people were arrested, sent to prison. Some of these people were just kicked out. Were not supposed to even be there. And I don't know what happened with the whole video or happened with the process, but it was really crazy. You know what I mean? And event like that happened too recently, not too long ago. I was living in Santa Cruz. I was a security guard at a Safeway store. I was working for a security company where they had me working at two different Safeways. Um, what I noticed is that these young underage girls kept coming in, stealing alcohol, lots of it. And I was like, why would these? And then these degenerate men that were pedophiles were coming in, stealing it too. Also, one of the men had I guess what you call it, an ankle monitor on his leg. The gentleman told me he was a child predator in that area. I watched him and a bunch of other ones come in. They would because Santa Cruz is so lax in that area. Do you think the stealing in the Bay Area was bad? San Francisco and other places. This was atrocious. They would come in and get full on shopping carts, fill it with alcohol, go out the store, find these kids. These kids would pay them $20 or more. And I was just seeing them just doing weird stuff like taking pictures and I just thought I didn't know nothing of it. And I was like, what the hell are these kids exchanging pictures and photos of their breasts and body parts to get alcohol? And then lo and behold, a story breaks of a woman who doesn't live not too far away from Santa Cruz, and these kids are being prompt and told because they're being videotaped after they got drunk at these parties and being sexually assaulted that they had to go out and go get alcohol and get these type of things, or this woman's going to pretty much use these photos and videos to exploit them. And then lo and behold, I contacted my company after I took a video of a young girl who had took alcohol and she had left the store and she got into a vehicle and then they had the loss prevention come out. They got information details. The details came back. I guess the story's on the news. It's on the news right now. The woman was pretty much, I think she was let out of jail recently, and she was involved with exploiting children in sexual exploitation of videos, had them stealing alcohol, had them stealing from the store. And one of these females that came into my store, I had caught them because I was the security, and I had got them hemmed up. And lo and behold, I think this was part of the catastrophic event that took place, and it's in that area. And once again, this was in the Santa Cruz area, towards that Santa Clara area, towards that whole area over by San Jose, where I used to live at. Because once again, I used to be a security guard there, and I was working at two stores, and they had children coming in there, stealing large amounts of alcohol, and these kids were linked to bringing it to these parties, and these parties were linked to child um, pornography, child rape, and then this woman was linked to this whole thing. And then, like I said to you, we don't know who this woman was giving these photos and videos to of these children. And like I said, one of the dudes that was coming into the store, he was a child predator. He had an ankle monitor, and he would come to the store every time these high school and these college kids would get out of that area. He would be at the store. I thought to myself, like, where's the police? Like, where's the police at? Why is this man constantly able to come in his van around the store? Like he had a scheduled timing where he knew that these kids would come from college. And these kids, mind you, they're 17, 18, they're high schoolers, they're college kids, and they're all coming to the store. And when they come there, that's why I was hired as security. They would run all these interferences because these kids would do what they call beer runs. And sometimes they would do the beer runs. They would get the homeless guys that were child predators or weirdos or meth heads to come into the store and do the runs for them. And then when you look outside, you would see the kid paying them $10, and the guy would hand them 32 cases of beer, and it was just and it was a lot of multiple accidents on that along that strip in Santa Cruz, like multiple accidents, and I would hear them all the time. I would see the ambulance, I would see the fire crews, and it was just like I was like, wow, in this beautiful part of America, they have all this going on. And I had to deal with a lot of people. I had people on video smoking crystal meth in front of the store. I came to the restroom one day. It was a man butt ass naked in the restroom, in there smoking crystal meth. And me and the manager told him to get out. He said, "Oh, I'll just be back tomorrow." Like it was just casual thing. And lo and behold, this man is back the next day. And I caught people in there. I had to stop a lady from overdosing. I had to stop another man who overdosed in the restroom. Another man came in the store. He overdosed. They called the ambulance, got him into a gurney. It was just so much of drug usage and a lot of children. I didn't know. And this young girl that was a very pretty little young girl. I actually stopped her because they were going to set her up. And the thing that I feel sorry for her because you already know she had a complexion that wasn't that was not the connection, and they were just like on her, and I was like, and they kept wanting me to like get her like or something like to chat, and I was like, no, no, I'm just gonna tell her. I just told her up front. I said, hey, you know what? They're watching you on camera. They have videos of you. Loss prevention is here. They're waiting for you to grab something. They have, this set up outside because I just feel like you know what? She could be in college, and she could have been at one of those parties and got raped or something happened to her, and they have the video. And this woman was told, I guess they was putting these videos up on that OnlyFans or whatever those weirdo pages are, those um pornography pages. And I just feel sorry for the young girl. I just feel like this is crazy to have children in here doing the work of adults that are mentally ill and sick and are sexually just deprived somehow to where they have to take advantage of children and have them commit criminal acts and engaging in this type of stuff. I just didn't feel right with it because it doesn't fit right with my soul. I'm not that type of person. I don't take advantage of children. I don't take advantage of babies. I don't take advantage of elderly people. I don't take advantage of nobody truly. Okay, I'm not in that type of category of mindset. So I did what I felt was right. My company told me to contact them. They contacted the loss prevention, and lo and behold, they busted a bunch of underage kids stealing alcohol. And then one of these kids linked them back to that event that was taking place at this woman's house. And this story became national headline news. It became news. It's on the news right now. You can look at it. The woman is released from out of jail. And I feel good about helping to stop something like that, prevent children from being raped, children from being taken advantage of, children from being human trafficked. You know what I mean? I feel good about this because I feel like I stood up for something that's right, and I've been doing this for a long time. Like I said, most of my job's been servitude to society. I worked in conservation. I worked in firefighting. I worked in security. I work with the youth. I always get these type of positions to where I'm helping people. I just think that's why that's my purpose in life to do things of this nature. It's not to be a tyrant. It's more to be a person that ties in peace into people's lives. And yeah, that took me for a whole loop right there. I didn't know that this was going on in a place like Santa Cruz. I didn't, when I moved to Santa Cruz, I thought it was a beach boardwalk. I thought I was coming down there like, hey, surfer dudes, like, hey, dude, what's up, man? I thought I was going down there. There's gonna be people like that just having a good time and probably, your bong hitters and catching waves, and I was gonna just go and have a peaceful time. I didn't know it was that much drug trafficking down there. I didn't know it was that much child exploitation going on down there. I didn't have no clue that that was happening that much. So I kind of like I was taken for a loop. I didn't know. You know what I mean? So you can never ever judge a book by its cover. You know what I mean? Don't never think because a place looks a certain way that certain things are not happening. And sometimes the Most High will put you in a place for a purpose and a position to do His will. And it may not be pretty because, like I said, my car was vandalized, my car was attacked. Um, they had broken into my apartment. I have videos. They're online right now. If you go to my Instagram, you can see it was individuals coming to my door trying to open my door when I wasn't home. You know, um, it was just a lot of stuff, and a lot of these people were not friendly people that didn't like my diaspora of skin color. They were part of those type of groups. You know what I mean? The ones that have the racial values, and they really had no love for people like me, and they feel like I was invading on their profits and stopping their profits, and they would come to the store and try to intimidate me a lot. They would come there and call me the N word and call me out my name and just a lot of stuff. And some of my people, would join in with them because they were lowlifes and they would be a part of that type of stuff too. And I would feel very upset. Like, why would you join in with some cowardly stuff like this? You're supposed to be doing something righteous with your life. You're down here with these people with this mindset and you're helping them steal from the store. This is where you have gotten in your whole existence of life. This is what you're doing. You don't have nothing else better to do with yourself. You're coming to a store helping people that don't even like your diaspora skin color, and you're talking about Black Lives Matter. That's what I said to you. Like a lot of these people are, they're disguising themselves as stuff that they're not really are, and it's just you have to kind of really call people out for what they really are. Stand on something, man. Stand on principle. I don't back down from nobody. I ain't backing down from nobody because I believe in the Most High. You feel me? I don't fear nothing but the King of Heaven and Earth and the Messiah. And I go through the Messiah to the Most High. So I know if that's the creator of all existence, and there's no image and no facial recognition of him, and this entity moves in ways that are way mysterious than I can even fathom. I can give you a story. Um, One time we were in, I would say, I think we were out of state. I'm not sure if we were in Nebraska. I'm not sure if we were in Idaho. I'm not sure if we were in Montana. I'm not sure, but we all went to a forest, and this forest had like trees that were like uh 30 inches, or no, like I would say more than that. I would say probably 6 to 7 foot wide. Okay. And the trees were like probably 8 to 9 stories. Okay. And this is real thick wood. Okay. So I had this guy that was on my crew, the one I told you about that had the sex with the underage girl that ended up catching the STD, that ended up getting kicked off the crew. Um, he was trying to drop a tree, right? He wasn't really good at what he was doing. I had got myself positioned in a spot that was not necessarily a great spot, and this is how my faith in the Most High. I always kept my faith in the Creator, and I always give the glory to the Most High, the Messiah, to the King of Heaven and Earth. You know what I mean? I magnify His name, I exalt His name, I give Him the glory. Um, I was on a lower edge by some boulders, right? He was at top. He was trying to make the tree drop over the edge of another side. But from him not knowing how to cut properly and drop trees because he didn't have his saw cord was not, see, I have a saw cord and you're supposed to only drop a tree of a certain diameter. The trees that I would drop were probably like 3 to 4 foot 4 feet wide, right? So that's the only diameter a tree post, right? So as you go up, you get a class A, class B. You know what I mean? You get a class to show that you are good at this tree falling. You can do certain trees of different sizes. You know the aspect how they would fall. You know the ratio, the degree, how to fall them, how to do a clearance of the area, how to, everything. You got to bore into the tree to make sure that the wood is good. You got to make sure it's not a cat face, it's not rotten. It's just so much goes into dropping a tree. It's just not like you just walk into a tree, you see a tree, and you say, okay, I'm gonna just cut this down with my chainsaw. It doesn't work that way. It's a lot that goes into it. So I'm on the lower scale area of the boulders. He's at the top area of the boulders. The tree is by these boulders. The the root is inside of the boulders. So the tree is grown in a very funky type of way. Okay, but it's a very big tree. There's multiple trees around. He's trying to drop it the one way. What happens is the tree spin towards my way. I fall to my knees. I'm saying a prayer. Please, in Jesus' name, help me, God, because the tree is spinning. Do you know that out of nowhere, something bumps the tree? The tree literally spins and falls the direction that it's supposed to fall. From going my way, it falls the right direction. And lo and behold, our captain comes up and said, "What the heck are you doing?" Like he wasn't even supposed to drop that tree. But him being who he is and wanting to get some attention, he didn't really know what to do. And he thought that somehow was, and then the more and more I think about it, I don't even know if he was trying to purposely drop the tree on me. You see what I mean? But I'm so highly favored by the Most High. Oh, there we go again. There we go again. So once again, my microphone cut off again in the midst of me talking. So yeah, I'm highly so favored by the Most High that I give the glory to. In the name of the Most High, the Holy Ghost Messiah, before the Most High God, I give the glory to you in Jesus' name. I give the glory in Jesus' name and exalt, magnify your name, Heavenly Father. Um, he spared my life, King of all kings. You see what I mean? Spared my life, creator of all existence. And some unknown force came in and actually spun the tree the right direction, away from my direction. So the tree was spun in direction away from me where it would not harm me. Okay. And none of the boulders, because when a tree falls, these trees like probably like a ton. They weigh like in a ton area. They're not lightweight trees. They're trees that's like this tree was like I said was like probably 5 or 6 stories tall. It had a 6 foot wide. You know what I mean? And believe me, it was a thick older tree. Looked like it had been there for a long time. Okay, so the tree spun and it didn't hit me. The boulders did not move. It just spun, and I seen an entity that I can't explain. It was a clear see-through entity. It hit the tree, and the tree spun and went the right direction from toward because the tree was first falling right towards me. It was coming right towards me. I mean, this tree was already in the tilt mode of falling, and something came and bumped it, boom, and it spun and went the other direction. And that's why I always keep my faith in the Most High God. I don't never ever fall away from that because I know the Creator is real and His existence is real, and that's why I do the work that I do because I have my faith. And that's what I feel like I'm put on this earth to do, to show faith and to give people a different perspective. Because sometimes we lose sight of what life really is. And based upon these things that are happening that are trying to test our faith or trying to make us lose our faith, we sometimes get lost and caught up. And you really need to sometimes see for yourself the true acts of kindness of the Messiah and the Most High. You need to know that the calling on the Most High, the King of Heaven and Earth, is real. You can call on His name, and He can save you from anything and all things that can happen to you. And yes, um, I just wanted to put that in my roast discussion because this is what I do. Like I said, once again, we don't talk about celebrities. We're not going to talk about the size of celebrities' rear ends. We're not going to talk about female celebrities. We're not going to talk about their bank accounts. We're going to not talk about pawn stuff because it's not really something I feel is very important to our um, perspective of life that we're living right now. This is a reality that we're living in. Things are real. Things are really happening. And if you're going to be on here, you need to speak on some real reality that can help us or can shape us into a better perspective or give us a better path of view. You see what I mean? Things about gossip is junk to me. It's not going to get me anywhere. It's just talking about somebody, and what does that do? Really, truly, nothing. It just sounds crazy. It's just wasting my time. And that's kind of like where they want us to be at. You know, like we're not going to pay attention to the future of our children, of ourselves, of um, our food intake, of our agriculture. We're not going to pay attention to the things of that nature. That's what they want us to do. They want us to be into this world that we're into: gossip, BS, fake news, fake celebrity, fake tying into things that don't really manifest anything for us. When you're speaking about your digestive, um, agriculture, um, products that we need to look into, when you're speaking about your medical, um, aspect of what's happening with our bodies and things of this nature, people don't want you to talk about that. When you're speaking about what's happening with the economic value in our communities, how we're being shut out, those are things that are going to shed light on more better, how can I say this, more intuitive and more important perspectives than to focus on things that are just a waste of time. I don't want to know about no NBA young guy. I don't want to know, no disrespect. I don't want to know about none of these people's businesses. And plus, anyway, I don't feel as a man you should be um, so much invested into sniffing up another man's ass. In that perspective, I don't think that's really important to be in another man's business anyway. That's kind of like feminine to me. I don't really see that as anything unless that man is doing something where he's human trafficking children, raping children, or hurting women, or doing something of that nature, then I need to talk about that and put perspective on that. But if a man is doing what he's doing as a grown ass man, I don't really care. That's not something I don't give a damn about that. That's his life. He can go do whatever he wants. He can go jump off a damn uh uh the end of the ocean to me. I don't care. That's his life. Who cares? But from my perspective, it's more important things out there. And this is what we need to be focused on. And in 2026, please make it your goal to bring real important information and not this falsification of just gossip because it's really fake. And we need to be in tune to what's happening around us because these things really affect us in the long run. It affects our health, affects our mental health, our our just well-being of existence period in a society. And we need to really truly see and understand why they're doing this and what is the end game to all of this folly that they're doing at this point in time. I want to thank you for joining me on the Rose Room discussion. I appreciate if you did listen. Thank you to all the people that dropped in. I apologize for these. I'm not sure they was like some African guys. I don't know. I have nothing against anybody from Africa. I love Africa. I have no personal issue. I love Caribbeans. I love all that. I love all diasporas of people. Um, I just know that right now it's a lot of stuff going on. I don't want to get involved with it, but yet and still, I represent who I am. I am a American um, from America. I am a Afro Indigenous person. My family's been here from day one, and I do share roots with other people. But once again, I'm setting on business here. This is what I believe is my foundation, and I represent this to the day I die. So, thank you. I appreciate you. Once again, this is the Rose Room discussion with MLR Rose. All rights reserved on my trademark, Intelligent Sounds, since 2029. Thank you, and keep your head on a swivel. Stay prayed up. Keep doing what you're doing, and stay positive.